Hi, I'm Somer Hackley,
Hi, I'm Zen Mac. This is the Art of Search Hiring Manager series.
and these are stories and insights about all things hiring. So, Zen, it is so good to catch up with you today. So, I have a burning question for you. So, we've had many different clients over the years, and we vet the candidate and we introduce them to the client, and usually that hiring manager, they're doing that first round interview. And I'm curious what you find to be effective. How do good hiring managers conduct that interview? How long is the interview? What do they cover? What are your thoughts? What have you seen out there?
Oh, that's a really good question and quite a loaded one too, because in a lot of ways it seems so intuitive, right? You need to hire somebody, you kind of have to do a first call. And if you've got the help of an outside recruiter or an internal recruiter or somebody in that kind of function, in a way, that person's sort of kind of already vetted for some of the more kind of checkboxy items.
Hmm.
So let's say you've got 30 minutes or 45 minutes. The prevailing notion is 30, but I see a lot of times people kind of going over that anyway. So you proactively schedule 45 minutes, right? And the focus should be some combination of who you are, because they're ultimately going to work with you. So I feel like sometimes that gets overlooked. I see managers getting on the phone and just going, can you do this? 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 Which is all important, but it kind of takes away from that kind of human aspect of who are you? If I'm going to leave my current job and come work for you, I need to know who you are. Why did you join this company? How long have you
Hmm.
been here? What's happening? What am I going to be doing? Why do you need somebody like me? And I think those questions get lost and they don't really emerge until second round interview or panel interview. And I think we have to capture the candidates kind of in the very first call. And it's up to us to decide, I think, as an organization, whether or not they shake out as at the rest of the panel interviews or if values align, if rituals align. But if they're not all in on wanting to work with you after the first call, I think it's a little bit of a miss, especially because you're taking 30, 45 minutes out of your day to go meet somebody. And you've kind of have to do this 4 or 5 times to at least have a solid sample set of the market out there. So I think for me, if I were to boil it down, I'd say find a reason to connect with the person and spend that time getting them to know who you are. Two, doing some sort of a screen, at least what have you done in your previous history that indicates that you would have the relevant skill set to do what I need here. Notice I said relevant skill set to do what I need here. Not exactly they've done this before, because let's face it, when we go and hire somebody who's done 100% of the things that we need them to do, why would they want to do this? And so I've got a challenge of making sure that, hey, have they done something similar enough that doing what I want them to do here is much more of a challenge, much more exciting, and gives them an opportunity to grow. And if I do that well in the very first call, then I think you have a lot of room to continue to engage them into your organization. But if you rapid fire questions, maybe it's just a quick checkbox answer, then the relationship needs a lot of building in order to land the person.
Yeah, I think
What do you
that's a
think?
huge point. Yeah, I think that first of all, you made a good point that the person's already been vetted. So relax, trust that there's been some screening done. You don't have to start from scratch. Better yet, talk to the recruiter before the interview to see their thoughts on this candidate, right? What do they like? What are their concerns? What do they think about the candidate? What should you press on? And hey, what motivates this candidate? Why are they looking? Like understand that. And then you can easily, rather than just going through your company story and mission, which the recruiter probably already told them, you can really cater that right to this person and where they're at. But also, realize that this person's going to meet other people later. And so you don't have to cover everything quickly. So what's
Mhm.
important for you to cover? And I'm thinking through all the different hiring managers I've worked with. And the ones that are really effective, they're pretty open ended. Now, they don't necessarily go, tell me about yourself and just let it go, but they'll say, look, here's the company's culture. Here's why I joined, all the things you mentioned. And they'll also say, like, here are the challenges that we're presented with right now. And what do you think? How would you approach that? Or where have you done that before? And just kind of describe the situation and then just see how they are approaching it. And you just need a really good take on should they meet more people? Because then you can always arm the next people with, hey, you know what? They said this, dig into that, dig into that, dig into that, right? You can trust your coworkers to go deep in technology or certain areas. Like you don't have to cover all of it by yourself. And also, I've also had other hiring managers um, catch up with the candidate again at the end. This isn't your first and only conversation. This can be, like you said, a relationship. It doesn't have to just be the last time you talk to this person. So just get to know them, see if you like them. Just know that you don't have to rush. Like you can spend more time. Because I've seen that be really effective, especially for the candidate too, because they want to know the door is open for them to follow up with you as a hiring manager, because if they're going to come work for you and quit a job for you, or even if they're not working, for them to join, they want to know they want to work with you, for you. They might want to talk to you again too, or fly and see you, or who knows. So it can be a part too. So, but yeah, I would say just rather than having 20 questions you're trying to rapid fire through, presenting the scenario and then just kind of letting it go where it goes, and then relying on your lieutenants to get what else we need. That's my gut on what I've seen be effective.
I think, yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to do all the vetting in your first call
Right.
anyway. So I think you're taking a lot on by thinking you need to. I think it's enough. The first call should be, is there enough here to warrant a follow-up conversation and further investigation? And that's kind of it. Now, I do see the case where a hiring manager does take that to heart
Hmm.
and talked to 10 people and all 10 went to the next round and
Right.
then the rest of
True.
the team kind of shook them out. So there
Hmm.
there has to be some forethought into, okay, well, at least have one or two initial screening questions that say, I'm hiring a senior manager of something, something. Well, how big is the team they've managed? Have
Hmm.
they inherited the team? Or did they go and hire one from scratch? Because that's a very different management skill set that you're going to
Hmm.
be looking for. And I
Hmm.
think we can quantify those
Hmm.
skill sets, and that comes up in the initial screen anyway, but that's something for you to dig into the motivations behind why did you decide to take a job where you had to do a whole retool of the team?
Hmm.
Like how did you come up with that as a solution? And really getting a sense of the why behind the action, not just have they done it yes or no. Because
Hmm.
usually the have you done it yes or no could or could not be generated by that person's leadership ability to decide to do it. They may just execute someone else's vision, whereas you
Hmm.
might need someone to originate the vision. So I think those are new nuances that you can tease out in your initial interview versus just a have you done XYZ? Yes, no.
Right. Right. 100%. You don't want everyone to get through your meeting, so you're inundating your colleagues with meeting so many candidates. You should hopefully have them meet three candidates, right? Max. Like you don't want to send everybody through. And so beforehand, really taking the time to think. And it's hard to answer right here with you because it depends on the role, right?
Yeah.
But like what are maybe those two defining questions that will really separate all the candidates from each other?
Yeah.
And it's usually along the lines of that transformation and that journey and their role in it, what they
Hmm.
walked into, where they got things to, did they inherit it? Did they, just all of that. So just really thinking through, okay, I have all these candidates. They all check these boxes. So what differentiates them from each other?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think usually it comes down to the stage of the journey, the type of journey, the scale, the scope, and how they get things done. Because I
Yes.
think
I
that's where
love
culture
that.
fit comes in. It's just
Yeah,
what roadblocks did you face and how did you overcome them? And that
exactly.
alone is pretty telling. So, anything else you would
Yeah.
add before we wrap up?
No, I think we boiled it down into kind of three major buckets, right? One is who you are as a hiring manager. If you don't really share that,
Hmm.
then you're relying a lot on the employment brand and the job and the title itself.
Right.
Whereas if you share who you are, I think there's more of a genuine connection there. One, two, light screen, at least having the definitive yes nos from your point of view on what you need somebody to do. And third is getting to know that person. And if you can do all that in 30 minutes, great. If you can do all that in 45 minutes, great. But oftentimes the follow-up conversations build on this one. So
Hmm.
it shouldn't be something that should be done lightly and not crammed in between three meetings, but rather something that's scheduled and with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's my ask is have a plan.
Mm-hmm. And write down your feedback, give it to the next
Yes.
person,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
tell people more than thumbs up or just so we recruiters are better equipped to find better candidates and your colleagues know what you covered and what they should dig into. I'll plug that. And I love the last thing I'll add before we wrap up is I love what you said because it's that relationship. And if they want to work for you, we're always thinking about a week, a month, 2 months, whatever it is from now at offer stage. And
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
all starts here. All starts here. First conversation. And so the more things people buy into, make it less about title and all the other stuff, right? Like they want to work for you, for the team, for the evolution of the company, all of that. So think about why you joined, what did it. But I guess that's it. So Zen, as always, I love talking about this with you. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. See you next time.